all of that and more for the Boston Celtics. Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted, Marcus Smart has suffered a torn oblique on his left side, and he could be sidelined for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. That from Woj. Certainly a bomb for Boston and their fans. He was injured against the Magic on Sunday. See him grab the left side there. Marcus Smart could very well wind up first-team all-defense this season. Certainly has a case to be made for it, and has been a starter on this Boston team and a steadying force for them. As we bring in Isiah Thomas and Sekou Smith, guys, this is a huge potential blow for a Celtics team that has been finding its way throughout the season.
Big blow, and it looks like a very painful injury. I mean, you know, we know how tough Smart is, and to see him go down like that and then grab his side, be helped off, you know, what he means to the ball club, you know, from a toughness standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, you know, they're definitely going to miss him. They'll miss his leadership, but most importantly, you know, we're all praying for him and hope that he has a full and speedy recovery.
Yeah, it also makes you wonder what this will do to Brad Stevens' rotation as well. They finally kind of found some balance, and now you have this happen. I guess on the flip side, if you are looking for anything positive, is that this is a Boston team that's dealt with injuries to key players.
Been through this before.
So therefore, they'll have some muscle memory about how to do this. But again, as Isiah stated, you don't want to lose a key player to any injury right on the eve of the playoffs like this. That's a tough blow for Boston or any team to deal with a player that caliber out of your rotation.
He is their defensive pit bull for sure. You know, you might argue Al Horford is the linchpin to that defense in terms of team defense, but he is the point of the spear, as they say, and will be sorely missed for maybe 2 rounds, as Woj put it. Meanwhile, we've reached the final day of the regular season. We'll sort through the seeding possibilities still in flux, not to mention final spot up for grabs in the East, but we'll start with the Lakers and the president who disappeared. Jeannie Buss, if she was upset with Magic Johnson's abrupt decision and announcement yesterday, she betrayed none of that via tweet today when she wrote, Urban, I love working side by side with you. You brought us a long way. We will continue the journey. We love you. Some reaction today during their exit interviews from Laker players.
First reaction is just kind of like, you know, what's going on, because you don't really know. But at the end of the day, you know, he made a decision that he thought was best for him, and you know, we wish him all the luck. You know, we're grateful for the year that he had with us, or 2 years he had with us, and you know, wish him the best of luck. That's about it.
Well, I mean, for me, I'll never, you know, say nothing, you know, bad about Magic. You know, he's a guy that gave me the opportunity to come in this league and play for this great organization. But, you know, at the same time, you know, like you said, saying, you know, to not baby us, you know, it's about right. I mean, we're professionals. You know, we are young. Obviously, we have a lot of young guys. But, you know, for us, we're professionals. And, you know, a lot comes with this business. You know, trade talks, injuries, you know, not playing, up and down years. But, you know, it's about accurate, you know, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I mean, it could shock me like it did the rest of the world, but you know, it's what's best for him. You know, I wish him the best. You know, he drafted me, and this is better for his life, and that's what he wants to do. You know, I'm support 100%.
Magic Johnson himself offered nothing but gratitude today on his own Twitter account, thanking Laker owner Jeannie Buss, his boss, general manager Rob Pelinka, Luke Walton, Laker players, the entire basketball operations staff for the opportunity, and reminded folks he will be a Laker for life. So the L.A. summer, already crucial, has just gotten more and more complicated with this announcement and a void at the top of the management chain with the L.A. Lakers. ESPN reported Magic and GM Rob Pelinka spent time with LeBron and his agent Rich Paul over the weekend, but didn't give LeBron a heads up about this, as he didn't with Jeannie Buss either, or Rob Pelinka. What do you make of the fact that he apparently told no one outside the organization what he was about to announce?
Well, I think in order for him to control things the way he did last night, it was imperative that he didn't, you know, let this get out, because how many leaks have the Lakers dealt with, you know, this season with all they've had going on? In order for Magic to be able to say his piece, Isiah, I think he needed to hold this in until the very last moment. you can dispute his methods. You can not agree with the way he handled this or parked this in Jeannie Buss's, doorstep and all these other things. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who decided he was not willing to do the things that he didn't feel were on the up and up to do this job. And if he walks away from it, to me, that's the honorable thing to do. Maybe not your method, but certainly if you're not in it for the long grind, why would you waste anybody else's time? You step back, let somebody else take on that responsibility and move on with your life. The beauty for Magic Johnson is, as he mentioned, he's got a great life, whether or not he's the president of the Los Angeles Lakers. And he decided at his age, at this stage of his career in life, he wanted to do something else. I got no issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it appeared to be a situation where clearly there was some disconnect between the upper level of management and Magic being the president probably wanted to make some changes. It appears that he wasn't allowed to make those changes or didn't want to upset the owner of the team, Jeannie Buss, in making those changes. So as opposed to accepting the role of being just a figurehead, he wanted to put his imprint fully, not only just on the team, but also throughout management. And when he decided that, maybe he couldn't do all the things that he wanted to do from a management perspective and also from a team perspective, as opposed to hurting anyone's feelings or his relationship with his close, longtime friend, Jeannie Buss, he just stepped aside and said, okay, I'll go on and I'll be Magic, as opposed to doing anything else.
Well, the decision clearly tugged at him. You could tell by his emotions during the announcement. But he was not the least bit critical of anybody within the organization when he made that announcement. Walking a tight wire between the needs of the organization and his personal needs and what he wanted to do, what he was allowed to do, all those things mixed in.
Yeah, and I would point out, while people have spent the past 18 hours running over Magic Johnson, that the Lakers' issues as an organization, this is a mess of their own making that predates Magic and Rob Pelinka.
Sure.
And their time as the front office regime in power with the Lakers. He's being asked, when he came in and he accepted the job, there's no doubt about that, but he's being asked to take the Lakers from a low point as an organization that they've not experienced during their time in Los Angeles, a stretch of futility that goes on for years that they've never experienced. So we're talking about a guy who bleeds Laker purple and gold, who has a relationship with Jeannie Buss that spans decades, and you're asking him to do things that have never been a part of his character since he's been affiliated with that organization. I understand why he's so emotional about it. I understand why he didn't want to have to wade in to these waters, Isaiah, and do some of the things that would have been required for him to do that could literally change the course of people's lives. This is a guy who's built businesses outside of basketball. So this notion that he's somehow unqualified or not prepared for the rigors of the job, to me, are comical. The fact that he pushed back from having to do some of them in this environment, shocking, but understandable to me when you consider his connections to the Lakers, to the Buss family, and to the entire Laker nation.
I mean, clearly, when you watch the video, he is clearly torn. Not only is he torn emotionally, with his relationship with the owner, but also in terms of the lives that he would have to impact in a very drastic way. Because it sounds like, and I'm just kind of reading the tea leaves, that Magic understood from a management perspective that drastic changes needed to occur. And those drastic changes not only will impact lives, but it also may affect the relationship that he had with his longtime friend,
right,
Jeannie Buss. And emotionally, when you put all that on the table, and then you're faced with the management decision of, do I do what's right for the organization in being the president of this organization, or do I step aside and let the owner continue to have their wishes? I mean, so it's definitely a tough situation that I think he was in. And once you are given the title of president of the organization, your job is to set the vision, and then underneath you, you need some soldiers that can really go out and operate.
Implement the vision.
Implement the vision. And I think from a management perspective and being the president of the organization, I just don't know if he felt, and this is just me, interjecting, I don't know if he felt that underneath him, he had the right operational people to go out and implement his vision.
Well, and maybe to that point, perhaps telling was Magic's response to a question about Rob working within these structures. How difficult is it to be paired with somebody by ownership who you don't necessarily have the relationship with?
It's extremely difficult. And what makes it even more difficult in this circumstance is that this is both of their first times in these positions, in these roles from an operational standpoint. No one questions their basketball knowledge. No one questions their ability to put together teams, so forth and so on. But when you talk about operating a franchise and running a franchise, and you put two inexperienced people in the office together, and one is the president and one is the general manager, then that president comes back and say, hey, look, after I've had a year of working with this person or this coach, my assessment is this is what I need to be successful, and this is what the Lakers need to be successful. And we tried this, but maybe I need someone a little bit more experienced. Maybe I need someone who doesn't have as much baggage. Maybe I need someone who manages relationships a little bit better. But this is what I need as a president to be successful of this organization moving forward.
You're also bringing to this situation, as Isiah mentioned, two inexperienced guys, bringing their own relationships around the league to play in this situation. For us to be naive enough to think that there wasn't some animosity out there towards Rob Pelinka and Magic potentially from other organizations, people not wanting to see either one of these guys be successful. The Lakers have been on top for so long. To see them down and out right now, for a lot of other executives around this league, that's not a bad thing.
Like 29 of them?
Yeah.
I mean, it is a competitive business.
Exactly.
And people forget how competitive it is.
So you factor all of that in. I think it's extremely difficult for either one of these guys to be thrust into these positions without a pre-existing relationship with the other one and expect for it to turn out drama-free.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought, after initially watching it last night and then hearing it again, Magic's tepid endorsement of Rob Pelinka last night sounded much different to me this time around when I hear the entire clip and digest it again. It's not that he said he had some issue with Rob Pelinka, but it's clear the disconnect between these two guys was coming in the door, not something that developed over the last year or two and became a bigger and more troublesome problem. They just weren't joined at the hip like a lot of organizations like to have their team president and his general manager. To Isiah's point, when you're talking about the multiple layers of an organization and how you have to function to get all the things right to turn a program around, I'm not sure you can go into it with this kind of structure. I think, again, this is a bigger problem that the Lakers have had, not preparing themselves for life after Kobe Bryant all the way back to 2010, if you're really thinking about it. They blew out the front office when Phil Jackson was gone. They blew out the entire organization. There was not enough bodies left once Jim Buss took over to really run the operation the way it needed to be, and you pay for that now at this juncture.
And Matt, I also think that, I think we had to look at the Lakers in phases. And this is what Magic laid out from a visionary standpoint that, hey, we're going to go out first year and try to land a big fish.
Right.
And really, they grabbed the biggest fish out of the ocean.
Away.
And you can put it on the list of 4 and you can put it 4, but at the end of the day, that was 1 + 1 + 1 when you grab LeBron James. Okay, that's phase 1. So that's cleaning up the front of the house. So I'm going to clean up the front of the house where now I can get the fans back excited. I can get the media back excited. I can get people talking about the Lakers once again.
Which we have all season.
And put us in a conversation now where we're being talked about, because I just went out, Magic Johnson, I just went out and got the biggest fish out of the ocean. Now I come back and I got to clean up the back of the house. And when phase 2, I got to clean up the back of the house, I got to look at the coach. I got to look at the GM. I got to look at the scouting department.
Sure.
I got to look at the medical department. I got to do all the things back of house while everybody is focused on front of the house. And I got LeBron James out in the front of the house. Once he got to the back of the house, and it appeared like he wanted to make some changes in the back of the house, those changes were, kind of cemented and couldn't be rooted out.
He basically confirmed to ESPN that he was about to make a decision to fire Luke Walton. And that's been speculated on for the entirety of the season.
Perhaps
not a
Luke
huge
Walton and others.
And others, right,
So,
sure. Perhaps others,
Yeah.
but he basically confirmed the Walton angle. But
Infrastructure changes, Matt, that if you're the team president and you're not allowed the autonomy to make them,
absolutely.
make it extremely difficult to do your job.
If that's how it played out, then it makes perfect sense. If you can't do your job, then you might be the right thing to do to walk.
I think Magic Johnson, having an impromptu press conference, made the decision that if I can't be the president and really run it,
Right.
then I'm not satisfied with just being the face of the organization.
Right. If you want to be the president, you got to make the decisions.
Yes.
You got to have that sort of power. Meanwhile, all those A-list free agents you've heard about all season long coming to LA potentially, they're all watching this play out and thinking who knows what. More coming up here in Game Time Live. For those still in playoff position, there are a bunch of important games left on the schedule to play, or maybe in Blake Griffin's case, not play. Pistons postseason scenario next.